And welcome back. We got another PowerSmart product to review here. This time it is a pole saw. This is an electric pole saw, so you don't have to mess with gas or gas and oil mix or any of those things. This is not battery operated. This is the type that plugs in. So fortunately, I'm set up here to do a review right next to the well pump where I have a plug. And we got some extension cords ready to go, so that we can demonstrate this thing right on these trees right here. We got some trimming to do. And the basics on this, and I'll open it up in a second, is that it's a 10-inch pole saw, and it telescopes from 6 feet to 9.2 feet. And that tells me right there there's going to be some assembly required because the box isn't 6 feet long. And so what we're going to do now is open it up and take a first look at it and see what we need to do. Alright, here's a look at how it comes packed. It looks like the sections just screw into each other with these nice, easy, big threaded couplers. And so that is good. We don't have to pull out screwdrivers and things, at least I don't think so. So we will pull all these things out of the box and see exactly what it comes with. Okay, this is very straightforward. You've got the head here. This whole cover is going to come off. You just undo that, this knob here. Unscrew that completely. Take this whole thing off. Then you can put the bar on there, and then put it back on. And then, of course, this is the guard for storage to keep it, because the chain, little teeth on the chain are sharp, and somebody might cut themselves if they're in the garden shed. You got a little bottle here for oil, and we'll look into how it lubes in a second here. And then you have your chain in there with the bag with the instruction manual. And there's the other sections. The poles are made out of fiberglass, it looks like. They're very light, and that's why they made them out of fiberglass instead of aluminum or something crazy like steel, to keep this thing nice and light. And I forgot the weight on it, but it is guaranteed to be light. Anyway, let's put the sections together and see what it looks like when it's assembled. Okay, so denied, that did not come right off. As you can see right there, that hole, there is a Phillips screw in there, so you have to go get yourself a Phillips screwdriver. As I was saying, all you had to do is take off that knob and take this whole cover plate off, and but there must have been some issue with stability, and they needed to put a screw in there as well. So now the screw is off of there, and you can see what you have under there. And I'll show you in a second how the bar goes on there, and the chain wraps around that sprocket. Okay, so I want to make a note of what we've got going on here. You see that little knob right there down at the bottom that rides along on that screw? So that is your adjuster, and they give you a little, if you look at the front of it there, this is where you're going to adjust your belt tension, your chain tension, after it's all put together, so that you can keep tension on the chain. And you have a Allen wrench that comes provided with the saw, and that is how you adjust that. And I just want to make a note that that was all the way forward during shipping, and you had to run it back to about halfway, as you can see where it is. And I'll show you why in a second here. So here is the bar, and you have to align that bottom hole. Let me get that around the sprocket there. Chain goes around the sprocket, and then you have to align that hole with that knob, which there it goes. As you can see, I'm going to have to do a little fidgeting around to get that on there, which is hard to do with one hand, but you get the idea. That is basically how it should look. It's not setting all the way back on the chain there. Let's see if I can get it to... No, I'll... 1 second. Okay, this is what it should look like. Now you got to make sure you pay attention to the direction of the teeth, and it's got a little picture right there showing you which way they're supposed to go. They're supposed to go away from you on the top. I don't know if I can quite... Oh, yeah. And then towards you on the bottom. Hopefully I'm able to show that better on here. So that's the direction, towards you on the bottom, away from you on the top. And you always have that little picture there to refer to. And so at this point, you put that cover plate back on, and you are probably ready to go. Let's do that. Okay, so putting the whole thing together, putting those sections together as you saw when we opened, it's just a matter of just putting the two sections together and screwing the collar over them. And there are 3 sections, and I just learned, I thought this was going to be telescoping, where one section slides into the other so that you can telescope and pick any number of different lengths, but the way this adjusts is the instructions say 6 to 9.2 feet, and what that means is 6 or 9.2 feet, because if you had the top section plugged into the very bottom section, I think that would be your 6 feet, and then if you have this center section in, there's your 9.2 feet. So if you're doing a bunch of short trimming, you would just want the 6 feet, and if you want to get up really tall, you go with the full 9.2, which is where I'm just gonna leave it like this today. So that clears up that. And other than that, you just got to make sure that you have this little bottle that comes with it. That's for oil. Now they have special bar and chain oil for chainsaws, but over the years I've discovered that it's fine to just use motor oil. Seriously, nothing's ever happened. Been doing it for 20 years. So fill this up with oil, and then it will lubricate itself as it goes. Just watch for it to run dry, because you don't want the saw to run dry. That will ruin the bar. All right, so what's next? I guess we start trimming. Okay, I'm just gonna have to leave that a mystery as to whether or not I was able to finish this. Problem is there's vines. I didn't realize there are vines holding it, and so it is not able to fall. But I was able to prove the point. I was trying to show that it will go through something really thick, and this is a very dirty hand. But this is about 8 inches, and it's oak, and so it did verify that it was able to cut through that with very little problem. It certainly has a lot of power. Of course, that really stems from it being plugged in. It's it's a little annoying to have to drag the cord around, but when you look at it, you probably have more power than a battery would provide, or at least a battery that's light enough to actually use for that power level. You're never going to run out of power unless your house has a power failure. So over here, I wanted to show that it will not only do the thick ones. If you remember when I was doing this section, wanted to show that it will not only do the thick ones, but it will do the thin ones as well. This is like 1/2 an inch and 3/4 of an inch, but it will do that fine stuff, because basically when you get it all the way to the end there, you got that stopper right there that holds the branch while, when you're doing something fine, get the branch stuck right there, and it will cut the fine stuff as well. And then over here, we were doing about 4 to 5 inch pieces of, this is a camphor tree, which is very much like oak, and it went through them with no problem. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, well, no, those are dry, rotted branches. They're actually dry and hardened branches. They're harder to go through than the live stuff. But I mean, come on, you guys, it's going to go through the live stuff and the dead stuff, no problem. It's got the same power that I recall on a 2-cycle pole saw, so it's got plenty of strength. It's never going to run out of power. And it's upside down. Oh. And it's pretty good. So a 10-inch chain, it would go through something even thicker than this, and or even 20 inches if you want to go from either side. And I believe it's got enough power to do that. And that is it. That wraps it up for this one. It is so it's at the 9-foot level there, and really handy. Oh yeah, I was also trying to show that even though you have it up at 9 feet, doesn't mean that you have to be trimming straight up. As you remember, it's light enough that you can hold it straight out and trim off something even horizontal from you. It's not that hard to hold up at all. It's very light because it's fiberglass. Anyway, that will do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll have all the links to go buy it at Amazon and the PowerSmart website. And stay tuned for the next one. The next one is actually going to be a chipper, an electric chipper. And you might see these same branches in the next video. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one.